One, two, three. Welcome to the third episode of the Digital Health Voice. Today we will be speaking to Dr. Manuele Biazzo, who comes with us with a background in biotechnology, but he has also done a PhD and MBA, and he set up a medical technology company in Malta, and it's called BioArte Limited. We're looking forward to have a chat with him and see what he brings to the table. Welcome, Manuele. It's such a pleasure to see you finally, maybe virtually at first and hopefully in person, extremely soon. I've heard so much about you, but I would like to start off the question, and since we're talking about digital health and medtech, I have one big question for you. What's your digital health journey? What brought you here with us today, in this medtech video interview?
Yeah, so actually all our business concept is surrounded by the microbiota. The microbiota is the collection of all the microorganisms living with us and growing with us in particular. From a genetic perspective, the amount of data, by considering that we are as human as bacterial in terms of number of cells, for instance, and also immediately also in number of genomes. So the concept of the company is to sequence all those strains in order to characterize, from a genetic point of view, the composition of the human microbiota in different districts. The most abundant, obviously, it will be the intestine. So this means a huge amount of data that we will generate, and we need to interpret in the proper way, because the microbiota has a huge impact on health. Obviously, if the interpretation is wrong, also the therapeutical approach that will be the second step, it may be wrong and so not effective. So how to handle data, how to correlate this metadata with the clinical outcome is crucial, and this is the medtech for us. So that's why we are here, and that's why before going out, we spent 2 years on research to arrive at the proper pipeline, prototype, and offer in the market.
Yes, so, Manuele, one big curiosity, when I heard the name BioArte, I was like, this is an interesting name, but I'd like to know the story. What's up with BioArte? How? Because I've heard that you started last year. Is that correct, or was it? I know that you said you've been doing research before that, but who's BioArte? Tell us your story.
Yeah, so actually, I am in this field since more than 15 years, and I am in the microbiology since when I started with the scientific approach. In fact, I am a biotechnologist, so we always use microorganisms in order to provide useful tools for human health. And I had the chance to work with great scientists at the time, because I used to work in a big pharmaceutical company, but in the research department, involved in the vaccines, new vaccines. And this was a very nice period for me, because we started really to understand deeply how crucial it is, the microbial community for our health. Then, yes, I moved to Malta. I directed a company that was involved in the characterization of natural ingredients from a molecular point of view. And then, yes, BioArte is very new as a company, but let's say I met my partner, Christian Duhon, recently, and we are coming from two different worlds. So myself from the microbiology and the manufacturing of food supplements, cosmetics, and he is coming from the pharmaceutical regulatory environment. So we decided to merge these two worlds that are the key elements to provide a service for the microbiota interpretation and clinical outcome of it. So we created BioArte because obviously it is focused on the biology, on the biotechnology approach, but at the same time we decided to add the word arte in the way that, of course, obviously in our opinion, in order to be disruptive in the market, of course we need to apply the rigor of the scientific methodology. And that's why we are merging the biological world with the pharmaceutical world. But at the same time, in order to provide innovation, you need intuitions, you need to take your risks. And this is more linked with the artistic way where, from an inspiration, from an idea, from a concept, then you need to validate scientifically your approach. And this is what we are doing on the research. In fact, as I always said, we are a research-based company with a diagnostic unit. I've never considered BioArte as a only diagnostic. And we have been always involved in the research, and we will always be on this. In fact, also all the income from the diagnostic, we always reinvest in the research because this is the only way to keep the company alive, to grow. And we already grew a lot since when we started it. We were two, me and my partner, Christian. And now we are 14 employees in less than 1 year. We reached our diagnostic license. We reached our ISO license. We opened also an institute for education because, as I explained to you, to correlate this metadata bioinformatics with the clinical approaches for the patients is something not easy. And a medical doctor today has not the knowledge to manage all of this because you need different experience. So you need obviously the medicine one, of course, as a medical doctor, but then you need the bioinformatics experience, the data management, and the clinical outcome of a microbiologist. So this profile of the microbiota expert is not existing yet in the market. That's why we create the institute in order to provide this other tool in the market. So we think that diagnostic, research, education, they need to be interconnected always to offer to the patients and to the market the perfect solution.
You naturally moved into my next question, which is that, and you really answered it already pretty well. And I was very curious how you put a focus on research in your work, even in your work profile. When I was looking at what you've been up to and getting to know you a bit in a virtual sense, unfortunately for now, but hopefully we'll meet in person, and I'm really looking forward to that. Especially after this crazy 18 months. But like in a couple of sentences, how do you see the link between high quality research and medtech and digital health? You've already alluded to this in many different ways.
Yeah.
But I mean, like one point which really struck me, for example, is when you said that the medical doctor today doesn't have all the knowledge to analyze the data, for example. And I understand that. I've been to medical school and I haven't become a data scientist or understanding big data from medical school, for sure not. But I got to get there through my experience later on in the different environments. But how does BioArte solve this problem? You mentioned the institute. Tell me more about all of this.
Yeah, so of course, the research is the base from where we start, because we want to provide something new, and in order to provide something new, we must start for research. And thanks also to Malta and to Malta Enterprise measures, we already took different grants beside the laboratory that has been given to us at the Life Science Park. A very nice environment for this kind of activities. So the research has been recognized in Malta And of this, we are very proud, obviously, because it is all microbiota based, our research. At the same time, also while we are touching the diagnostic, so we started to do COVID tests, for instance, but also on this case, we never stopped at the PCR results, positive or negative. We started sequencing at our own expense. I want to clarify this, the positive cases. And this was more than 1 year ago. So when the concept of variants was not so popular as now, so we immediately started an epidemiology study on the variants circulated in Malta. We also published this on the American Journal for this kind of studies, and the paper has been accepted immediately. So this is the approach. Yes, there is the diagnostic, then there is the research, but then there is the dissemination of the research. So those results on the sequencing, that was also very interesting because we identified a particular cluster in Malta at that time that was not this summer, the previous one. We published, and is available for everyone. So obviously, with this kind of approach, as soon as then you need to analyze the data, the statistics. In particular, we work on the identification of new biomarkers in the microbial community. So biomarkers then can predict a certain outcome of a disease, including COVID, or that they can maybe help to avoid bad consequence of another disease and so on. You need to manage properly the data that you will generate from the laboratory. And those competences are crucial. And again, here we are on the Medtech, and where obviously myself included, I was not at all involved in the informatics, on the data management and so on, but there are different profiles and professional people working with us. So I don't think that one person will be able to, have all the knowledge possible, but at least the base to understand then, which are the right questions to ask to people that are doing only that. So this is the approach, and that's why the institute, because then obviously those are very broad as disciplines, and a person that needs to analyze the microbial data needs to have some skills that are not easily available today.
Yeah, I think it's even like in the work that I do on a daily basis, I get to analyze a big amount of data, and I can only imagine like that this kind of data that I analyze every day compared to the biological data, which is so diverse and so vast, especially just even considering genomic data. Wow, I mean, you must really be on point and you must know your stuff well. And with that in mind, we're here to speak about Medtech Word as well. So will this be your first in-person conference since the COVID-19 pandemic started? Like, how has it been for you this whole year? Like, I've heard so much about what you've been able to achieve in this past year, but are you looking forward to Medtech Word? Like, what are your thoughts there?
Oh, obviously, yes. This will be our first in person, where we are participating. And the fact that this conference then is in Malta, the first time I have been invited as a speaker, and I will, of course. But then we realized the opportunity for us to have a larger presence. So we will have our stand, we will have our seminar. So we wanted also to be part of this, because it's very nice that this kind of events are in Malta. We have been invited in others, but let's say not specifically to what we are doing. We think that this event will fit perfectly with the mission of our company, a company that grew up during a pandemic period. So it's also something that we are proud of it, because we managed to do things in a way that was successful, also with all the risks we were facing daily, including a simple one like the quarantine period that we have been through. And luckily, due to a proper segregation and proper measures, we always avoided that the entire company was in quarantine. So it has been a strong period in terms of organization, because the concept of work and also how to do things has changed completely. And we are happy that slightly we are going back to normal reality, like a nice congress to attend, where we can meet in person people and potential partners.
Yeah, I also can't wait just to be there and just to speak to people, even if I, you know, like just to be there and just to create connections and like even meeting new and new, not just meeting new people, but also meeting people who are on the same wavelength as you. That is priceless. And that's why we are here and that's why we believe in medtech so much, even as Digital Health Malta, who is also one of the partners in this conversation. And Manuel, I'd love to thank you for being here with us today. It was an extreme pleasure, and I can't wait to see you in less than a month, I hope. Something like this now is getting closer and closer.
Sure.
So really can't wait. So thank you very much, Manuele, and we hope to see you later.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Thanks.
Ci vediamo.
Bye. Bye.